The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good.
Can you hear me right now?
We can. Yeah.
Okay, we can hear you. Okay, good. Okay.
You know where
So the recording is on.
I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice to meet you on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening friend, will feel empowered to learn a new truth and embrace the life of your dreams. And so today, you're going to want to add my number because we are giving away a book. The book is called The Alzheimer's Solution, a breakthrough program to prevent and reverse the symptoms of cognitive decline at every age. Every age. That doesn't mean that loss of memory has anything to do with getting menopause or reaching 40 or having children. In some of my cases have been that way, all of the above. But here's the deal. For those of us who want to improve our memory or have already received a diagnosis of Alzheimer's, dementia, or that you're not happy with your cognitive skills, this is the number you need to call. 407-373-5959. Because I know there's going to be a lot of interest with this book. I'm going to make it the 6th caller or texter. That is 407-373-5959. When you call, you leave a message. If you don't leave a message, you will not be counted. So call and leave a message or text. And so if you want to protect your mind, remember that you start this process, and the call's already started. This is awesome. 407-373-5959. So keep in mind that it's today that you're setting yourself up for success for 30 years from now, 20 years from now. So you can change and reverse this time in your life that you're feeling, especially if you're sleep deprived or have nutritional deficiencies. The information we're going to talk about today is critical. And so I know I'm going to be taking lots of notes, and I hope you will too, because since it's our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, and I am grateful that I have doctors Dean and Ayesha Sherzai. They're called Team Sherzai. And you may want to unmute your mic for now because we're going to let you come in for now. There we go. So say hello, team.
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
So glad to be here.
I am glad that you are here too. When I say that you can reverse memory loss, people say, oh, that's ridiculous. Share a little bit about your background and why you can make such a claim. Go ahead, Ayesha. Let's get started with you.
Yes.
Great. So I am a neurologist, and I trained in preventive medicine and neurology at Loma Linda University. And I also have a fellowship in vascular neurology and cognitive impairment from Columbia University in New York. And our work has been focused on not only understanding the diseases of the mind and what affects it, but also what are some of the things, what are some of the environmental and other diseases and other issues that affect our brain. And it's essentially it's prevention. How do we prevent these diseases from getting worse, and what brings them on?
Very good. Go ahead.
And I'm Dean Sherzai. I'm a neurologist as well. Trained in Georgetown University, DC area, East Coast. And then I did a fellowship at National Institutes of Health and another one in UCSD, which is the main dementia place in the country, as well as my MPH, which is in public health in prevention, is from Loma Linda University, which is the only blue zone, the healthiest place in the world in the country. And we went there to study the effect of lifestyle on cognition. The effect on every other organ has been studied, the liver, the kidney, the heart, the systems such as endocrine system, diabetes. But for some reason, it's thought that the brain is a black box. It's something different. It works in different parameters. It's not. It's part of this body, and the same factors that work for the heart, for the kidney, for other organs, exponentially work so for the brain, this amazing organ.
You know, and this is such a good news show because many of us think that this is a part of aging. And the reality is, no matter if your family has a history of this, you know, we can choose what our destiny is as opposed to our DNA choose what our destiny is. And this is great. And I'm so glad that we found you here on the show. For those of you that would like a copy of this book, the sixth caller to leave a message or texter will win a free copy of the Alzheimer Solution, a breakthrough program to prevent and reverse the symptoms of cognitive decline at every age. This is great news. So start your calling 407-373-5959 when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, so let me see. Here we go.
You can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn with one another, from one another. And today we are learning from Dr. Dean and Ayesha Sherzai. And so the two of them have co-written a book called The Alzheimer Solution, a breakthrough program to prevent and reverse the symptoms of cognitive decline at any age. Be the sixth caller or texter. You can call 6 times if you want to, but the sixth caller or texter will receive a free copy of this book, 407-373-5959. So, okay, let's go ahead and start with Dean this time. Dean, let's talk about dementia and the differences between memory loss, dementia, or Alzheimer's. How do we know this isn't sleep deprivation?
Yes, absolutely. So dementia by definition, by simple definition, is whenever someone is having difficulty with their cognitive activities to the extent where they can't do certain daily activities. For example, driving, finances, taking care of their medication. Whenever the difficulty is to such extent where they can't do those things or have significant difficulty with those activities, that's the general definition of dementia. Dementia is the big category. Underneath dementia, we have different types of dementia. And the biggest category within dementia is Alzheimer's. 60% of all dementia is Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's in particular is a specific type of dementia that's progressive, that has to do with certain parts of the brain, specifically the hippocampus, which is the sides of the brain which are involved in short-term memory, which then progress to the rest of the brain. So that's why a lot of people come to us and say, well, you know, I'm fine. The family brings them in and say, I'm fine. I can remember 50 years back. It's just that I have difficulty with breakfast and yesterday. Well, that's the main problem. And if it's bad enough and it's progressed enough where they can't do their daily activities or are having difficulty to some extent with their daily activity, then it's the dementia stage.
Yes. And so, you know, we see this a lot, that people remember what they did 50 years ago, but they don't remember what they did yesterday. I am one to be included in this one, although it's something that is happening today. how much is it not being busy and not having time? Go ahead, Ayesha, if you'd like to respond to that.
A lot, actually. It all depends on preparation, being prepared in life, and having all the elements in our environment organized. And usually when these things don't line up, or they don't really work very well with our particular steps in life, that's when things go awry. So it's about being prepared and having control over elements of life.
Very good. Go ahead, Dean.
As we get older, some of it is just what you described. It is a lack of organization. It is because we're overwhelmed, we're multitasking. Our lives become complex without us even knowing about it, or even being aware of it. Mm-hmm. So some of it could be that. So that's where the distinction has to be made, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, whether it's just the fact that you're just overwhelmed with grief, or you're doing 5 different things and now it's catching up. To distinguish between those things versus no, this is the beginnings, or it's telling of something else to come, is critical, and that's where you need a specialist to evaluate you.
Okay, I'm glad that you're talking about the specialist to evaluate you. I don't know where I heard this, or if I read it, or what, but when it comes to the brain, and when it comes to diagnosis of the brain, we don't really necessarily have a diagnostic tool to say for sure, you will, by the symptoms, you get this diagnosis, and that they're finding and they're discovering that many people who have dementia or Alzheimer's that have been diagnosed really had a deficiency more than that. Would you like to address that, Dr. Dean?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of times when people have these difficulties, it's depression or anxiety. Sometimes we are not aware that we're depressed and we are overwhelmed, or the fact that we have a B12 deficiency, or a thyroid disorder, or some other kind of malady that's affecting our mind, or the fact that we have diabetes or pre-diabetes that's affecting the chemical structure of the brain. So it doesn't mean necessarily that you are having the symptoms of Alzheimer's, but even those things put you at greater risk. And that's why it's important to identify even those other symptoms or those other factors, because they can lead to Alzheimer's and dementia in general.
Very good. And Dr. Ayesha, let's kind of subside here, because many people think that if my mom or dad or an uncle or a relative has dementia, that somehow I will get it too. What the heck? What should I worry about? It's just inevitable. What would you like to share as far as good news for that?
Yeah, I think that is one of the biggest misunderstandings about Alzheimer's disease and dementia, that it is inevitable, that if we have the genes, we are going to get it. But that's not true. Obviously, almost all diseases are genetic. We're genetic beings. But what genes do is it gives us a range. It gives us a range in a way where, we have the potential of developing the disease early in our life, or push it well into our 90s, 100 and beyond. What happens in those 30 and 40 years depends on what we do on a regular basis, how we eat, how we sleep, whether we move, exercise or not, how much mental activity and mental challenge we have in our life. And those things matter. Those things actually determine when the disease manifests itself.
Very good. Anything you'd like to add to that, Dr. Dean?
Yeah, absolutely. She said everything. Only 5% of Alzheimer's is heavily driven by genes, meaning that this is a different class of disease. We still call them Alzheimer's, but they're driven. These are the presenilin 1, presenilin 2, and APP genes, which means that they will get the disease within their life, but they will get it. But even in those populations, we can change it. We can move it. Then lifestyle affects it. But the genes matter a lot in that group. So that's why it's important for the other 90% or 95% to realize, or for all of them, that lifestyle is that much important, that you can actually push it past your normal age of, normal life.
Okay, very good. And so, okay, Doc, I for those of you, I'm calling Ayesha and Dean, both of them are neurologists, and they are very heavily involved in the study of the brain. And so the book is called The Alzheimer's Solution. If you would like a copy, a free copy of this book, be the 6th caller or texter 407-373-5959 and get your memory back, because it is so many things that we do that we don't know we are doing that affect us. So let's go there with that, Dr. Ayesha. This is what are some of the things you mentioned? Lifestyle, you mentioned sleep. Let's talk about nutrition first. You're nodding your head because this is such a key topic. Let's talk about nutrition. What are some of the things that we need to know about nutrition right now that we can tweak to give ourselves a better probability of having cognitive skills well into our hundreds?
Absolutely, Lillian. So nutrition, in our opinion, is probably the most important environmental risk factor for diseases of the brain. And how could it not? I mean, this is something that we put in our bodies 3 or 4 times a day, and it determines the fuel or the raw material for our brain. The connections, the cellular structures are actually made or broken down by what we eat. And so far, data has shown that things like sugar, things like saturated fats, they essentially cause a lot of damage to the brain, not only as far as the processing of cognitive functions go, but the structure itself. We now know that when we eat a lot of sugar, and it's something that's around us all the time, whether it's
I know. It's an addiction.
Absolutely. It essentially causes chemical changes in the brain. It causes insulin resistance. It slows down the processing of the brain. It causes a lot of inflammation, which in turn destroys the connections between the brain and other cellular structures as well. So, staying away from sugar is probably one of the best gifts that we can give ourselves every single day. And as the same goes for saturated fats, not all fats are bad. People have been incriminating fat for a very long time. It's the type of fats that matter. And we now know that saturated fats that are derived from animal products and dairies and cheese, they actually are not good for you. And we have multiple population studies and other forms of research data that shows that the saturated fats not only destroy the cellular structure, but it also causes damage to the blood vessels, to the arteries that supply nutrition and oxygen to different areas of the brain. But on the other hand, polyunsaturated fats and monounsaturated fats that are derived from plants actually are good. So all in all, a whole food, which is unprocessed, plant-based diet seems to be the best type of dietary pattern for the brain, because it provides the necessary micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, and all other types of food material that gives us a great environment for the brain to grow.
Okay, so let me continue with you at this point, Ayesha, because I'll add Dean later on, and we'll talk about sleep, because those are two things that are so important in our lives. And so here we go with the saturated fats. Just recently, we've heard coconut, MCT oil, coconut, all of that, and that is saturated fat. I'm glad that you finished that by saying, but plant-based saturated fat. Let's talk about coconut oil. And is that a myth? Is it real that coconut oil does help the brain?
As far as we know right now, to the best of our knowledge, there's no strong data that shows that coconut oil is beneficial for the brain. And when you look at coconut oil, it's one of those rare plant oils that consists of saturated fats. More than 90% of coconut oil is saturated fat. And so, we try to steer clear from it. And, it hasn't really been recommended for brain health at all, even though there's almost a cult of a movement behind coconut oil. and how wonderful it can be for the brain. But unfortunately, we don't have data as of yet. As far as MCT is concerned, which is a component of coconut oil, we know that there are some studies that are going on to look at the benefits and effects of MCT on the brain and Alzheimer's disease in general, but they're not strong enough for us to be able to recommend it.
Okay, so in the book, you have lots of recommendations for those of you who would like a free copy of this book, The Sixth Caller or Texter. I'm hearing my phone buzz, but I don't know where we're at. 407-373-5959. Call once, call 6 times, call 10 times. Let me know that you want a copy of this book. It's called The Alzheimer's Solution, and it is a breakthrough program to prevent and reverse the symptoms of cognitive decline at every age. This is great news. 407-373-5959. I know that I'm too excited. It's real early in California for you guys. But we're going to continue our conversations with Dr. Dean and Ayesha Sherzai. Team Sherzai, yay, on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. And we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. I know. It's probably like you're going, oh gosh, I just woke up.
Love it. Love it.
Wonderful.
We're feeding off of your energy.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to now I know that we had we weren't able to prep ahead of time, and so normally I have like an intro of you before the show. At what point? Because I had asked the question about when you're doing the original diagnosis, the diagnosis tool. I know that there are some tools that we can use to make sure that we do have dementia. Is there? Because I know the Amen Clinic, they say they have a scan. Is that real or not?
No, it's not real. But the tools we have is the tools everybody else has, which is the imaging, the MRI, the PET scan, the neuropsychological testing. All those things are everybody else.
So we can use CT. We can use all those different forms of imaging. MRI. Okay, let's talk about that on the show.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where you can hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I am your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that we learn from each other, go through life with childlike wonder. We go through life not knowing what we don't know, and that's what we talk about on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. Today, we have an opportunity to learn more about cognitive skills, our mind. And I have made a commitment to dedicate this year, the rest of the year, and also next year and forever to many causes. One of them is Alzheimer's, because I'm dealing with it with my family, with my parents. And so the good news is that I know that I can turn off that gene. And we're going to learn about this together on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, because this is where we stop. This is where the buck stops. We take responsibility for our own life. And the way you do that is by choosing what's best for you, living a responsible life, and how you eat, you sleep, you act, you think. There's so many different things, exercise, so many things we can do, so that you can join this movement of responsibility that leads to empowerment and freedom. Go to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber, and while you're there, when you become a subscriber, you get the show sent right to you. And while you're there, make sure you check out my sponsors, because without my sponsors, this show would not happen. So make sure you check my sponsors out and figure out a way you can support them the way they support us, and by doing the show as well. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com. You get lots of free gifts. Also, there's lots of little buttons. There's a YouTube button. There's a social media buttons. There's podcast buttons. Explore while you're at whenyouneedafriend.com, and let's grow together. We can also grow together on demand. By calling on demand. Yes, we got that too. but we can grow together by calling me at 407-373-5959. If you have a question, a topic that you have in mind, let's do it here on the show. Let's grow together. 407-373-5959. Calling and leaving a message or texting that number, 407-373-5959, will get you a free copy of the book, The Alzheimer's Solution. It's time to be proactive. It's time to take your health back. So today we have Team Sherzai, and you can find them at teamsherzai.com. All that information is on my website at whenyouneedafriend.com, and you'll also get the video on Facebook, YouTube, all that. So let's educate ourselves. And every time I say the number, the phone call blows up, the phone blows up. So make sure you get your time in, be it the sixth caller or texter. Thank you so much, Dean and Ayesha, for coming on the show today to share your wisdom with my listening and my viewing friends.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for having us, Lillian.
Thank you.
Well, before we went on the break, we talked about the nutritional aspect of it. And for those of you, you can listen to the show again over and over again at whenyouneedafriend.com or watch it on YouTube. But now, Dean, I would like to talk about sleep and the importance of sleep and how we know what we're going through is not sleep deprivation.
Correct. So sleep is extremely important. This is a topic that we haven't in the past explored. Its relationship to the brain.
Yes.
This is something we've been doing for thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, 8 hours a day, a third of our life. And we've even risked our safety for it. Why? Why would that be the case? Well, it's because this amazing organ, this 3-pound organ, which is 2% of the body, consumes 25% of the energy of the body.
Wow.
It needs rejuvenation. It needs restoring. It needs ability to organize all those things that it has seen and it has experienced throughout the day. By the way, this is something that has not, been addressed enough, and it's not being addressed enough. Mm-hmm. Sleep disorders are the most common problem in America, and actually for most of the first world. We have difficulty falling asleep. We have difficulty staying asleep. We have sleep apnea, which is underdiagnosed, which basically means we're not getting oxygen to the brain. And the sleep that we do have, a lot of times is pharmaceutically induced. Just because you knock out somebody, it doesn't mean you're getting those cycles, the 4 stages of sleep that are necessary for you to go through. So we are artificially inducing sleep. In Michael Jackson, it was all the way as much as propofol, a drug that actually you use during surgery.
Yeah.
That's what we're down to. So we want to talk about this little element as much as we can. If you have sleep problems, address it. It's not always pharmaceutical answer. It may merely mean to address specific things that are affecting your daily routines. Or it could be the fact that certain things you're eating. Or it could be your environment. Or it could be the fact that you're having sleep apnea and you're not even aware of it. And they can all be addressed. And we're not against medicine. We're doctors. We deal with this on a daily basis. Sometimes medicine as a short measure can be useful. Specific types of medicine, not all of them. But that's why it's critical to address it. When we were in LA, everybody would come to us, with cleanse of the day, this cleanse and that cleanse and from up and below and, you name it.
Yeah.
Well, we said there's only one true cleanse. I'm sorry. It's not sexy. It's not a fancy little plastic box. It's one amazing cleanse. It's sleep. Yes. Sleep has functions that we know of. Earlier Ayesha said, to the best of our knowledge, we're okay with that. People think that if you don't have the absolute answer, that it's not worthwhile. That's wrong. Science actually doesn't give you the absolute answer. It gives you the best knowledge we have today with data and with experimentation so I'm not going to belabor that. But sleep is 2 functions: cleansing the body and 2, consolidating memories and thoughts. The cleansing is remarkable. At night, when you're sleeping, when you're going through those cycles,
I love this.
Yeah, actually takes away toxins, the amyloid, the inflammatory factors, the oxidative factors. It actually takes those away. Mm-hmm. And in fact, it actually decouples the bad connections in your brain. But if you don't get sleep, the toxins accumulate, and you can't make it up on the weekend. I know we've talked about.
I know that's bad news for
bad news for
everyone.
all of us. You know,
Yeah.
going to medical school, we always no, and that's okay. We've done enough damage. But it takes away those bad connections and creates good connections. If you don't get good sleep, it actually eats away at good connections. There are studies that show that the microglia, which are the cleansers, start eating away at good parts of the brain. So that's
Really?
why. Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just the fact that the amyloid, which is the bad protein, accumulates, inflammatory stuff accumulates, but actually the brain starts eating itself away. So that's why sleep is critical. And the second part.
I want to, there's so much that you said. I want to go back to this cleansing because we've done enough shows on the Lillian McDermott radio show to know that there is a specific time. Everything that we do with nutrition, we could ruin with our sleep too, because part of our digestion process, the catabolic state, that after that goes through the detoxifying of the body. Now we got the sleep mode that is also enhancing what we've done throughout the day with our nutrition. But here's the thing. Is there a particular time? Some people say that this actually happens between the hours of 10 at night and 2 in the morning. How important is 10 and 2 in your opinion, Dean?
Yeah, so again, best of our knowledge, the hours we don't know about yet.
Okay.
We do know that, but patterns we do know about. So if somebody's been is a night worker and has been doing so for decades, we think that that's okay. The body adjusts. I mean,
Okay.
The brain likes light. For millions of years, it has evolved with light in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Light is a good thing, all that. But I think more important is patterns. The people that suffer the most are the ones that vacillate in their patterns. A few weeks they're night shifters, and then they're day shifters, and then they're night shifters again. Or others, the great majority of others, who just don't get good sleep. They're awake late at night watching, these QVC and all these other shows. I hope that's not one of you. But then in the morning they go to sleep very in a poor way on a couch, and they're not even getting good sleep there because it's distracted, and that's where the damage is done. So
Okay.
That pattern.
Okay, so really quick, because I want to dive in a little deeper to sleep. Sleep aids, you said sleep aids are not, does it disrupt that pattern? Does it disrupt all the cleansing at that moment when you take a sleep aid?
Not all sleep medications are equal. Some are much worse, some are less harmful, and some are somewhat benign and you can use it temporarily. So they affect the brain differently. Some of them actually interrupt the sleep cycles. So that's why it's critical to talk to your doctor. If you have a sleep problem, go to a sleep specialist or a neurologist for that matter and discuss your medications, because they would know that you're having difficulty with your sleep patterns, your sleep cycles, and therefore this medicine is actually affected. The barbiturates, the short-term benzodiazepines, the Ativans and the Valiums, they're great at knocking people out or calming them down short-term. But these spikes, because they're very short-acting, they have consequences long-term. They also have addictive consequences long-term.
Yeah.
So that's just one category.
And I totally agree with what you're saying. One size does not fit all. That's why you're saying that some things work, some things don't work. We need to get to know our body, and our body is constantly speaking to us. And in some cases, it's yelling at us. And so we just need to listen to what our body is saying. And with all due respect, and this would be to Team Sherzai, they take a more integrative, holistic approach to health. There are other doctors that are just going to give you these pills that's just going to hurt your cognitive skills. So we need to be informed on what we put into our body. As I say, you can take a pill, you can take responsibility. I'm not against pills. I'm for doing everything you possibly can. Again, be the sixth caller or texter, 407-373-5959, and get your free copy of the Alzheimer's Solution. And we're going to continue our conversation when we return worldwide, and we'll be right here waiting for you. My goodness, lots to talk about with sleep. There's not enough time. So let's bring this over. Okay, so Ayesha, I wanted to talk about, as far as we talked about sleep aids. And what can we do? There are people that say, oh, I can't sleep. I can never sleep. But yet they have their television on, there's light going, there's noise everywhere. Can you share some tips to have a very good night's sleep hygiene?
Absolutely. So going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time and not taking naps is a beautiful place to
So
start.
no naps.
That's right.
Pushing through. Even if, what we say, even if you haven't had sleep for, one night, try not to take naps and then go to sleep at a particular time and wake up at the same time. And then also there are other factors like not eating at least 3 to 4 hours before going to bed. Because a lot of times, even if you have a very light meal and you don't have any heartburn, the digestion itself keeps you awake. The digestive process actually keeps you awake. And then, of course, not drinking caffeine, not eating caffeine many hours before bedtime, not necessarily 1 or 2. Alcohol can actually be a stimulant. Noise. So there has to be a ritual before one goes to bed, dimming of the light, turning off, connected devices, listening to music, something soothing, not having very intense conversations before going to bed. And you know what? One thing that helps me, and I just want to add this for what it's worth, my unscientific approach to my life. One of the things that helps me is writing things down for the next day.
Yes.
It's just dumping everything that's in my mind, writing it down, journaling, or whatever it is that I need to do. I mean, this is my to-do list for today. I mean, these are all the things that I had to dump out of my brain because I had a lot of things to do. I've got a wedding this weekend and Christmas caroling that I'm going to be doing. So there's a lot to do to get organized. And I think that is probably the worst, where I feel out of control if I'm not organized and like things just fall through. What do you have to say about that?
I think being organized is probably one of the most important things that we can do, period, for the brain. Because when you organize yourself, you eat well, you exercise, you sleep well.
I love that. It's a great point.
You basically, you manage your stress. When everything is on a page, or when we have a whiteboard. We have a 6 by 8 foot whiteboard, and we have it in the living room.
I think I saw it when you were coming.
Right. The kids use it, and we basically use that as a platform to organize our life, get rid of the things we have no control over, and it helps quite a bit.
Exactly.
Okay, real quick, Dean, I want to talk to you about melatonin. Is that habit forming? Is that help you with your sleep, or is it not good?
It's not habit forming per se, but and people say it's natural because it comes from the brain, or it's melatonin is what's produced by.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
We can address
You can text
that
Lillian McDermott
after
or
the
leave
show.
her a
How about
voicemail
that?
at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
I'm loving all the calls, but I'm not counting. I don't even know if we have 6 callers yet. Just saying. Be the 6th caller or texter, 407-373-5959, and you can win a copy of the Alzheimer's Solution. This is great information. For those of you, my listening friends, we trust people to take care of us. But the number one person to take care of you is you. And so when you empower yourself with this kind of good news, a new truth, amazing all the things that will change in your life. You're no longer a victim of your DNA. You can choose. You can choose today how your future will be. And so if you would like to choose with a how-to manual, the Alzheimer's Solution is a great book. It not only has great information for you, it has great recipes as well. Nutrition is very key. And today we have Doctors Dean and Ayesha Sherzai. They're called Team Sherzai. What a cute, you guys are so cute together. I just want to say that. I just want to pinch your cheeks, both of you.
Not at 5 a.m. our time.
I love the little cowlick on the back there. Okay, so be the 6th caller, texter 407-373-5959. If you want to learn more about Team Sherzai, go to teamsherzai.com, and I have the information at whenyouneedafriend.com already. You should know that, and you should just be able to click, and it takes you right to there. So we are talking, because there's not enough time during the show, we're talking during the break about some of these tips. It is crucial that if you watch us on YouTube, or I'll post it later on Facebook. It's very informative for you to have this. And also, get your book. If you don't win the book today, you can get the book on, where can we get the book, Ayesha?
You can get it from our website, teamsherzai.com/book, or from Amazon by just typing Alzheimer's Solution. And it's available in all bookstores in the nation as well.
Really good. And please remember to go to your local bookstores as well. Let's remember them as well. Okay, I'm sorry,
I just wanted to add, all the profits from the book actually go back to the community. It goes to a Healthy Minds initiative, and we're setting up brain health workshops for people who don't have access to brain health. So whatever comes out of this book actually goes back to the community. So you're helping everybody.
How wonderful. That is something I did not know, and I'm glad that you brought that up. So where can we learn more about a Healthy Mind community?
You can actually go to our website. We have information about it there. We are, healthymindsinitiative.org is the website.
Healthymindinitiative.org. Not a Healthy Mind, but Healthy Mind Initiative. healthymindsinitiative.org. Okay. So as we go forward, and there are so many things that we need to know, let's go back to you, Ayesha, about exercise. How important is exercise in our life, and what should that look like?
Goodness gracious. So, we talked about sleep. We talked about nutrition, and what they do is essentially provide the right environment for the brain to grow. But what exercise does, it actually grows the brain. It actually is an process. It's wonderful. Exercise as well as cognitive activity, specifically exercise, what that does is it creates connections between cells so they function better and faster. There can be as little as 2 connections between brain cells, and as many as 20 to 30,000 connections. Dean always, he exercises and he's pretty buff, and he with his patients, he says, don't compare the brain with muscles, because it's such a disservice for the brain, because, the biggest bodybuilder can grow its muscles maybe 3 or 4 times its original size, but the brain can potentially grow up to 30,000 times its potential.
Wow.
And that is dependent on exercise and how we exercise. And, the definition of exercise has changed. There was a time when people would say, I walk around the neighborhood. That's great, but that's very light exercise. That's almost like meditation. We're talking about breaking a sweat. We're talking about not being able to finish a sentence. But every small increment of activity makes a big difference to his brain and builds those connections quite a bit.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say, Ayesha, is that it's about sweating and breaking a sweat. So even lightly walking, that's not good for the brain. Go ahead, Dean. Would you like to address that?
Yeah, it is. It is about really breaking sweat. At the same time, the other side of the coin is that you could be working out for 30 minutes, but then the rest of the 24 hours, you're just sitting and lying down.
Yes.
That negates all the benefits of that half an hour. So also moving. One of the things we do in our household, we have 2 small kids, a 10-year-old daughter, opera singer, and a 12-year-old son. Oh. And there's a flag, like football flag, and every night, once or twice, they throw a flag and we get up and dance. And it's nothing for nobody to consume, I can assure you. But every hour there should be something that prompts you to get up and just move. Movement every hour. So there's that sweating thing and also moving every hour.
Yes, sedentary activities, or the habit of just sitting around, can actually negate half an hour or 1 hour of exercise. So like Dean said, it's important to move.
Yes, and I have my little reminder on my wrist. So I was showing you my little wrist thing that every hour it reminds me, because although I'm very active and I'm doing a lot of things, when I'm planning the show or when I'm doing research or things, I could just get so focused on what I'm doing that I forget to move during that time. And the good news about the Lillian McDermott Radio Show theme song is that it's mandatory to dance when you hear it. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing. Okay, exercise. And I'm hearing people say this right now from their cars as they're driving, or their house as they're listening, or on their computers while they're working. They're listening to me right now. And they're saying, well, I can't break a sweat. I'm on a wheelchair, or I'm in a, and I'm in a situation where it hurts to move right now. Maybe they're morbidly obese. What are some of the tips that you can give? Who would like to address this one? Okay, Dean, go ahead.
We completely understand that, but like Ayesha said, any start, any movement is great. One of the things I love the best, and I said if I was Secretary of Health and Human Services, I would connect everybody's TV to a recumbent bike. So it doesn't work unless you're moving. That's why I probably will not get elected as Secretary of Health and Human Services. But that's a different problem. But the beauty of something that's proximal and easy, those are my two favorite words, proximal and easy. We fail ourselves with peripheral things. Oh yeah, you want to work out? Run to the gym. No, I wanted a driver to take me to the gym. Not really, but the idea is to get to exercise. And to get rid of limitations. So if it's balance, if it's joint pain, I love the recumbent bike or a little foot pedal exercise because you're sitting in a comfortable seat, very comfortable. Even make it more comfortable than your couch. Or if you're using the little foot pedal exerciser, you're sitting in your couch. So that's the beauty. There's no balance issue. There's minimal effect on the joints, and you're just moving. So when I say I love this, is when you're watching a TV show an hour or 2 hours, just move slowly. And every few commercials, just rev it up.
Yeah.
At first it will be one commercial, then it will be 3 commercials. And so that's the beauty of it. You're eliminating the things that reduce your activity and increasing the things that actually, which is the exercise itself. So that's how you can get around that. Or if your legs are completely out of the question, this is a closed system. So upper extremity. So put that little foot pedal exercise on the table, watch your TV, and just go round and round. And it will do the same thing for the body because it's a closed system.
I love those tips because, we don't even realize how sedentary we become. Because, the internet has been so wonderful for us in so many different ways, but in other ways, it really has hurt our health. I hardly ever watch television. And I love to dance. And so there's so many different things that we can do. So if create whatever we want to, whatever we want to create so that we can keep moving. That's what I hear you saying. Not necessarily break a sweat, although that's important, right, Ayesha?
It is, yes. But again, the good news is you see a difference for every small change.
Small changes make a difference. Well, the two of you are just absolutely unbelievable. I'm very grateful to you for sharing. I know that we're going to continue this conversation once the show is done. So thank you so much, Doctors Dean and Ayesha Sherzai. And we're going to continue this conversation right after, like in a little bit here. And to you, my listening friends, I am so grateful to you. It's time. You have the power to change your destiny. Let's do it. Call 407-373-5959 and be the 6th caller or texter to win the book. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Okay, so we're going to continue this conversation. Thank you, Brian. So I wanted to say that before he left because he's got to go do another show. So, okay, so we covered a lot. So I want to go back to the brain again and exercise. How important, and you can raise your hand if whoever wants to respond this now that people can't, they don't have to know exactly, we can see you. Once you raise your hand, I can identify you. But how important are crossword puzzles or reading or keeping your mind sharp? I know a lot of people that have written books, that I've read books, but they still get demented. Who would you like to answer this one?
I'll go.
Ayesha.
I'll take
Okay.
First. So it's a combination of things. I mean, it's important to keep your mind sharp and active. A cognitive activity, we just got done with a comprehensive meta-analysis review looking at cognitive activities, brain games, and cognitive impairment. And the interesting thing was, if you intensely activate or stimulate the weak areas of weakness, that's when you get the maximum benefit from it. For things like reading, say for example, or writing, after a while it becomes like watching TV. So it's all about keeping your mental activity or your cognition challenged on a regular basis. And human beings, they become very acquainted with a particular activity if it goes on for a long time. So the key is changing it and switching it on a regular basis. Say for example, you get better in Sudoku after a while. Suddenly it's not stimulating anymore. So it's about the change.
And it's the complexity as well. Yeah, complexity is important. The brain was not designed or evolved with one little pattern of adding nines to in a box. It's more complex. Let's talk about dancing. You like dancing? We like dancing, but people don't like my dancing. Dancing
depends on time of the day.
Yeah, dancing is amazing because it's so you're actually processing the information. You're learning new patterns. I'm not talking chaotic dance. I'm talking about a pattern you're learning. So it's actually frontal lobe, you're recalling, it's temporal lobe, it's movement, it's your parietal lobe, it's emotion, it's your limbic system. It involves the entire brain. Oh, by the way, on top of that, it's exercise as well.
Yeah.
So that's why complex behavior, learning a new musical instrument, it's all of that. If you're a reader, reading alone is almost like watching TV for most of us. Reading, recalling, reviewing, basically processing it, and then rewriting your thoughts. That involves memory, recall, processing frontal lobe, rewriting it and reviewing it. It's the parietal lobe. And then the act of writing those thoughts, that involves the entire brain. That's why the complex activities are important. So the more complex the activity, the better. Card games, we love this. You have a group of people, 4 people playing some complex card game. I'm so terrible at this card game stuff. But the card game itself is complex enough because you have to think, you have to see guess what the other person's cards are or something of that nature. And then at the same time, the social interaction. Social interaction is complex behavior where you're processing the other person's information. You're at the same time kind of engineering your own thoughts and to regurgitate. That's brain activity for us. Brain activity for us is not simply following dots on a computer screen. Even those have been found to be effective. We just did the review, as Ayesha said. But the more complex the behavior, the better. The more social the complex behavior, the better. The longer and enjoyable the behavior.
Yes. Okay, so you've touched on. There were a couple of things that we didn't touch up on the on the radio show. And I would love it if you guys have an opportunity to come back on the show because there's so much more that we could talk about.
By all means.
Yeah,
okay. We'll look better
with better hair. I don't have to go like this every 5 seconds.
We'll look better and we'll have a land. The connection will be stronger with better mics.
No problem. We made it through. Okay. So we talk about lots of activities. We talked about nutrition, and all those things are very important as well. And I understand that. But what about meditation? Because I'm the type of person who I am in constant movement. I've got a lot of things. You guys are probably multiply that by 100. But how important is meditation and calming the mind down and dumping? Because there's a lot of people out there, they're carrying lack of forgiveness, they're resented, their resentment and unfulfilled desires. How much is the slowing of the mind? And as a certified life coach, this is like something that I think about. How important is that for dementia? Who would like to answer?
It's incredibly important. It's essentially like rebooting your brain every single day and getting rid of all the byproducts that I have accumulated. I'm using chemical terms, but that's exactly what it is. It's, being grounded, coming to point zero and starting from there. It's like creating a blank slate in your mind so you can process things better. And, being a scientist, we actually have scientific data that shows that people who meditate on a regular basis have lower stress levels, have better ability to process information and memory, have better ability to cope with something that is thrown at them that is, completely out of the blue. They have better tendency to manage things in a more productive way. So, whether it's simple breathing, or it's some people can't sit down and quiet their mind on a regular basis. Something, a ritual at the start of the day that prepares one for the deluge of information that we're facing on a regular basis is very important. And we've done this with our patients in our clinic. We actually do a lot of talks. We've done over how many talks?
200,
in community centers and in churches. And this act of just breathing in and breathing out and focusing on that one act, even if it's for a minute, completely changes of how you interact with elements in your life.
We did this in a synagogue in middle of Beverly Hills, 500 people. I said, okay, I'm going to change the talk here a little bit. And we did 10, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, close your eyes, relax the shoulder muscles and focus on one thing. 10 seconds, actually 20 seconds. It was remarkable to see the response. Yeah. That's something as simple as that. And in our own life, we have my daughter and son, they started doing this as well. And my daughter came to us and said, Dad, my life has changed. I said, you're 10 years old. You don't know.
I love it when they win these reality shows, and they'll say they're 10 years old. I wanted to do this my whole life. You're 10 years old. Yeah. I've wanted to do this for 50 years. Stand in line.
So it's critical. And the meditation is different for different people. Yeah. We've had people who can't sit still. So I say, that there's a walking meditation.
Yeah.
I do walking meditation.
Tell more of that. Say more of that.
Yeah. So walking meditation is two of our military guys in VA. So the veterans, they said, I walk. I said, do you do that cadence? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do the same thing, or take a word, a powerful word, a word that's really meaningful and positive in your life, and repeat that, every fourth, and then do this on a regular basis and quiet your mind and focus on the breathing and make sure that your cadence is regular, and simple as that. And it was amazing how much it did for this gentleman. And for me, I do walking, and by the time I'm halfway, I do this circle, my mind is in a different zone. So it's different for different people. You don't have to cross your legs and, different things. And even the more transcendental meditation, fantastic. If you know how to achieve the higher states, that's wonderful. So the key is, as with food, as with exercise, any small increment helps, and take the first step, because it will be the beginning of the second step. And you can't get to the 10th step unless you've taken the first step. It seems like a cliche, but Ayesha's research in nutrition, 48% reduction in cognitive decline from diet, but every step was a reduction
of 10%. Yeah. So making small changes matter. We actually have objectively identified those small changes making a big difference in the brain.
Wonderful. I will let Dean, I'll let that be your last statement. Ayesha, would you like to make a statement yourself on, motivating someone who's listening today that says, I just don't know if I could change or reverse how I'm doing right now. Maybe they have full-blown dementia or Alzheimer's. Can you give us some hope?
Absolutely. For Dean and I, it's a personal thing. We deal with this on a regular basis. We had grandparents who went through dementia.
You dedicated your book to them.
Yeah, and we see patients, our lovely patients, every day of the pain that they go through. But there is hope, even for the ones who have full-blown disease and they are suffering from it. for all of those patients, I think the most important thing to remember is that, quality of life matters, dignity matters, and by making small changes, whether it's with getting rid of stress, or whether it's moving a little bit, every small bit of it actually makes a difference. It's about getting some help from family members to become organized and identify elements that they can do, and identify the things that they have no control over. And that process of identification actually gives one a lot of peace. That's where meditation starts from. That's where stress management starts from. So planning, having a conversation around those elements, and breaking it down into achievable steps is the key.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I know this conversation is not going to end. I know that there's going to be more shows about this, and I'm so grateful to the two of you for sharing, for waking up early in the morning and sharing your information. Keep doing what you're doing. One last question. I said this was going to be my last, your last statement, but do you guys coach people that don't live in California? Let's say we need for us to talk to you about an uncle or relative or ourselves, and we want to maybe call you. Is that a possible that you can help somebody online?
We do two things. Through Healthy Minds Initiative, we want to partner with communities. They want us to teach, educate as far as life, as far as lifestyle, as far as environmental effects on brain, not just Alzheimer's, but stroke and depression. Yes. And all these. We will partner with communities and come there on our own and start this program in the community. That's critical. Now we've 40 communities that we've actually started this process with. That's most important to us. Secondly, we also through internet are connecting with people and coaching them and giving them guidance. And we will start webinars as well fairly soon, and workshops. To us, the most important thing is there is hope. The most important organ that we have is the brain. This is the century of the brain, and we're going to see more problems with the brain. 1 in 3 people will have a problem with the brain, and every family will experience somebody with Alzheimer's. So we have to start the conversations. So thank you for having us involved in your conversation.
Well, I appreciate you. And of course, you'll hear from Ashley again. Hopefully we can get you back soon. And if at this point, all our shows are booked for the year. So I am looking forward to seeing you next year. And until then, may you have a blessed 2017 and a wonderful, best year ever, 2018.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. Hold on.